Have you ever had a day where food felt easy? You knew what you wanted to eat, you could tolerate different foods, preparing a meal felt manageable, and then the next day, nothing sounds good. Every option feels wrong. Even your safe foods don't seem appealing. For many autistic adults, eating isn't a fixed experience. The exact same person can have completely different relationships with food from one day to the next. So, why does this happen? And more importantly, does this mean you're doing something wrong? Hi, I'm Dr. Jessica Bays. I'm a researcher in nutritional psychiatry, and I focus on how nutrition impacts mental health, particularly in autistic adults. One of the questions I hear often is, why can I eat perfectly well some days, but struggle so much on others? And today I want to explore some possible reasons. We'll talk about sensory capacity, decision fatigue, interoception, autistic burnout, and a concept I find particularly helpful: the idea that food serves different purposes on different days. Because sometimes the challenge isn't the food itself, it's everything else your nervous system is trying to manage. I think one of the most important ideas to understand is that sensory capacity is not fixed. Many of us assume if I like a food, I should always like it. But sensory experiences don't happen in isolation. Imagine you've had poor sleep, a stressful day, bright lights, background noise, social interaction, unexpected changes. By dinner time, your nervous system may already be carrying a significant sensory load. The food hasn't changed, but your capacity to tolerate sensory input may have. Suddenly, smells seem stronger, textures feel more noticeable, or flavors feel more intense. The same food can genuinely feel different because you're experiencing it with a different nervous system state. I sometimes think of eating as requiring bandwidth, not internet bandwidth, mental bandwidth. Every meal involves decisions. What should I eat? Do I have the ingredients? Do I have the energy to prepare it? Will I enjoy it? Or will it be worth the effort? When life is already demanding, those decisions can feel overwhelming. And this is where I think many autistic adults can be particularly hard on themselves. Sometimes people assume I don't know what I want to eat, when the real issue is I don't have the mental capacity to make another decision today. Food hasn't become harder because you're lazy or unmotivated. It may simply be competing with everything else your brain is already managing. Another factor that often gets overlooked is interoception. Interoception refers to our awareness of internal body signals, things like hunger, fullness, thirst, temperature, or fatigue. Research suggests that many autistic individuals experience differences in interoception. Some days, hunger signals may feel very clear. On other days, they may feel delayed, confusing, or difficult to identify. This can create situations where you forget to eat, food seems unimportant, or hunger appears suddenly and intensely. The eating experience changes because the body signals that you're relying on may feel different from one day to the next. The next thing I'd like to touch on is the idea that food has different jobs on different days. This is probably my favorite idea in today's video. I think many nutrition conversations assume that food has one purpose: nutrition. But in reality, food often serves many different functions. On one day, food might be about nourishment, enjoyment, or social interaction. And on another day, food might be about comfort, predictability, reducing overwhelm, or simply getting enough energy. And neither is wrong. For example, when life feels calm, you might have capacity to experiment, cook, and try new things. When life feels overwhelming, your priorities may shift. The question becomes, what can I actually manage today? Recognizing that food serves different purposes on different days can reduce a lot of unnecessary guilt. I also want to talk about something that many autistic adults experience but rarely discuss, which is that sometimes safe foods stop feeling safe. Perhaps a texture suddenly feels wrong, a smell becomes noticeable, or nothing sounds appealing at all. This can be incredibly frustrating, not because you're being difficult, but because you've lost something that was reliable to you. When this happens, I think it can help to remember that sensory needs are dynamic. The goal isn't to force yourself to eat foods that currently feel impossible. The goal is to work with the nervous system you have today. I think one of the biggest risks is interpreting difficult eating days as personal failure. It's easy to think, I should be eating better. I should be trying harder. I shouldn't be struggling with this. But often there are multiple factors influencing the eating experience: sensory load, stress, burnout, fatigue, decision fatigue, or interoception. Recognizing these influences doesn't solve everything, but it can help replace self criticism with self understanding. And that's often a much more helpful starting point. If food feels easy some days and impossible on others, you're certainly not alone. The experience of eating is influenced by much more than food itself. It's influenced by your nervous system, your environment, your energy levels, and everything else that's happening in your life. Sometimes the goal isn't to eat perfectly. Sometimes the goal is simply to respond compassionately to the version of yourself that exists today. I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Have you noticed that your relationship with food changes from day to day? And if so, what do you think influences it the most? You might also find my previous videos helpful as well, so check those out. And if you're interested in more evidence-based neuro-affirming approaches to nutrition and mental well-being, please consider subscribing. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you next time.